Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
What is up, boys? How's everybody doing?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
I had an adventure today. It was not fun.
Right.
You guys want to hear about it?
Of course.
So, I work long days. I work 12-hour shifts and 4 days a week. And so today it's around a little after 3 o'clock. I told you guys about yesterday, right? With my freaking dryer, right? So,
Most dryers only last one cycle now. So you actually got lucky.
Unfortunately, I wish I knew that because I wouldn't have washed the second load and had it sitting in my washer to this day, soaking wet. Because
it's $800 a dry now. That's the going rate for drying clothes.
So this brand new washer dryer that you bought. This isn't your event, but
no, this isn't my adventure.
This is yesterday's event.
Yeah. So yesterday, like I get my, the Monday, I take the old machines out. I unplug everything. I disconnect everything. I take the railing off my basement stairs. I take the door off my basement. I want this to be as quick and painless as, it's like, for these guys. I want them in and out of my house. So, and it worked beautifully, in and out. They took the old ones out. They brought the new ones in. Hey, can you hook it up? I got this. No problem. I put everything together. I install everything. I put the railing back. I put the door back. I run the wash. I'm happy. I'm just washing it, watching the fucking thing. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I take it. I put it in the dryer. My last dryer was like 2 hours to dry a load. This is done in 40 minutes. I'm super happy. I pull everything out. I put the next load in. I hit start and nothing's happening. So I'm like, am I missing something? Because, it's brand new. Maybe there's something I'm missing. So I take the owner's manual and I'm looking. No, it's not working. So I call Samsung and I get this guy and he's like, hello, my name is Jim. What can I do for you? I'm like, your name's not Jim. Just stop.
You're right. It's James.
We don't have to try and Americanize this shit. I know I'm calling a call center in New Delhi. You don't have to do this. So, all right, Jim. I tell him my issue. And so Jim tells me that, well, we have to put it on timer. And if the timer starts going down, well, then it's broke. So I have it on like video call. So he sees everything that I see. And, the latch is fine. The doors are fine because, all right, we checked everything. And he's like, but it's tumbling, right? I'm like, no, dude, it's not tumbling. If it was tumbling and dry, and I wouldn't be calling you. So the timer, of course, starts going down. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's broke. I'm like, I know, dude. This is why I'm calling you.
Sorry.
Now, right, well, of course, there's nothing they can do because I bought it from Lowe's. So I get on the phone with Lowe's. They were super nice. Like, they were just like, yeah, we'll just, so Saturday, they're going to swap them out. So now tomorrow I have to take everything apart again and do all that shit. But
go to the laundromat with 3,200 quarters. That's $800.
I have a whole bunch. Now you don't use quarters anymore in the laundromat. I didn't know this because I had to go to the laundromat last week while my other machine was broken before I got the new one, which is also broken. But they give you a little debit card now and you just charge it.
Oh.
And you just so that's how now the laundromat works. So right. So then today, I get into work around 9 o'clock. I have some guys there to do some hood cleaning and stuff. So I don't get the place open till around 12. Put my orders in. Like a nice little chill day, right? It's not super busy on Wednesdays. I'm going to kind of chill. I make a sandwich. I go in the back. I put on the last episode of Skeleton Crew. I'm going to eat my sandwich. I'm going to watch Skeleton Crew. And
so far, this is a good day's work. If that's work, that's incredible.
Well, this is the beauty. This is the beauty of my job, and my owners, my bosses, like they recognize this and they're super cool with it. Like they're like, look, we know that from November to April, like you're not doing shit, but from April through October, it
you
is
fucking die.
Yeah, it's balls to the wall. Yeah. I don't know how many more summers I can actually do this job. So I'm watching the last episode of Skeleton Crew and I have my chicken sandwich and I take a bite. My second bite, I hear crunch,
Oh, shit.
and I'm like, oh shit. And I open up my mouth, I spit out my food on the plate. I go in the mirror and I look, and my crown in the back is gone. Cracked, gone. Now, as soon as air hits it, it's like excruciating fucking pain. So now I'm like actually shaking because
You
the
want to
pain
see
is
air hurt?
so bad. Right. So from the time I cracked my tooth, got in touch with my dentist, got in the chair, got drilled, grinded down, numbed up, new temporary crown on, back at work, 90 minutes.
Really?
That's not bad.
That's impressive.
90 freaking minutes.
Wow.
In and out. And so the rest of the night, of course, you know, I'm all numb. I can't eat. I hate that. I hate Novocaine. But I went to a new dentist. This guy was fantastic. I'm telling
Did you have to drive back off the island to this dentist too? And get all
Yeah,
the
it
way
was
back to
right
work?
by my
Wow,
house.
that's impressive.
Yeah, so I had to come off the island, sit down. They were even like staying late because it was an emergency. They were super
They
awesome.
like that emergency money.
Yeah, well, you know, that was another $200 I wasn't expecting to lay out today, but you know, so a couple more visits, I'll get the new crown and I'll be set. But that was fun today. Just, you know, that automatic, just when you crunch and you know right away, that wasn't chicken. That's my something in my mouth that fell out that shouldn't.
Yeah,
one more 30-second read and you're good. We'll get $200 made like that.
Well, I was
Let you
gonna
know when
say,
it
I
comes
was like,
in June.
I was like, I don't think you'd be telling that story if your restaurant's serving stuff with like crunchy shit in it in the chicken.
God,
Dude,
no,
that's
I
brutal.
wouldn't.
You're having a good run of it, huh?
It's just like nothing is ever easy. Like that's just what it comes. I watch all these people. Everything that people do around me is like flawless and easy, and then it's like I always like we talked about it, right? Always buy scratch and dent bullshit appliances. The one time I'm like, you know what? I'm not fucking doing that again.
Shiny new.
We're gonna get some nice shiny new stuff. One run.
Yeah.
One run.
One's bad. Well,
Sorry.
you know, I mean, you're in the food industry, right? So I think you guys might find this to be quite funny because I do. I laugh every time I heard it on the news today, like 3 separate times. Apparently, there was 100,000 eggs stolen with a street value of $40,000.
It's close to where I live.
This is what's happening in the world right now. That the egg prices are so high that people now are running underground egg running rings. It's like prohibition for poultry.
Yeah.
40 grand. Do you know how many dryers you could buy with that?
A lot. And I bet half of them will work.
Yeah. So you're rolling the dice on which one will work. Yeah.
Didn't we all elect a certain somebody because bacon costs a little too much? Now we're stealing eggs because the price is through the roof. Like, okay.
There's
40 grand in eggs.
There's no one to investigate it, so you can steal whatever you want.
Oh my god!
And the eggs are probably fucking tainted anyway. It's not like we have a USAA checking them out anymore.
Exactly, they're fine. I spent my day about 4 months ago. My brother and I bought a 1948 Willys Jeep.
Nice.
And we bought it from Facebook Marketplace after a couple of. And
you thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, now
this is gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be great. It'll be a project car. We're gonna bring it down to our beach house and just it'll be our car down there. We'll roll around, pick up some 60-year-old MILFs. It doesn't go very well at all. So I spent my day dragging it across the yard in my truck to try and get it into our barn because it's been sitting in the yard for about 5 months, like pure Maryland white trash, redneck, like just sitting in the yard. Got it across the yard into the barn, but because of the way our barn's oriented, like I couldn't pull it into the barn and get the truck out. So I had to really rig up like 2 straps and like this thing called a come along. Have you ever seen what a come along is?
What a come along is?
All right, relax. I didn't. I was a soft boy from New York
Sounds
City.
better than what it probably actually is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if
those straps that you
exactly. It's like a metal. It's like
a
a metal thing. So we have because it's an old dairy barn, so we have 2 big poles and I put 2 straps on and basically just use the come along to drag it in and
2 poles, a strap on it, to come along.
So I finally got this thing into our barn.
You were in a Polish Shaza movie. You tell me, right?
Yes, dear.
Operation Get the Jeep in the Barn was successful today.
I'm
So
glad
that's
that
been good
that was
stuff. That's what I did.
successful.
So my semi-sabbatical, semi-retirement has been going great.
Which is going to stay semi only for a well, I guess it's going to become your sabbatical is going to be hopefully ending
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we won't discuss it on this podcast just yet, but we will just say that Tim might be joining the dark side. We'll explain at another point.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll
Um,
see.
hopefully, for your sake. But on a good note, wasn't pretty, boys. It was
Mm.
some points downright ugly.
Yep.
But the Devils got 2 points last night from the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, I was not in a good mood last night. So I know we were getting the group text and I was kind of shitting all over these guys for
Yeah.
everything. But I do feel a little bit better now. And I do have a kind of a different outlook of how I'm going to at least think about this team for the next 2.5 weeks. But I'm curious what you guys thought about the Pittsburgh game. Tim, you can start us off here.
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 points, man. It was ugly. It was a slog of a game. It's kind of what I wrote up. We're injuries up and down the lineup. They're older. They're not as slow, I think, of Pittsburgh as kind of the sort of general narrative is. They brought in some younger guys that are a little bit quicker, but they're not a good team, and we should have blown the doors off them. But losing a 2-goal lead, is kind of defensively they looked better. They were kind of limiting stuff. They were kind of insulating Dawes a little bit better than maybe they would if it was Allen. But coughing up the lead was kind of rough. There are a few rough moments. But the offense, man, it's just so anemic and frustrating, especially with the like level of talent that we should have. I appreciate that they're playing well defensively, but there's just something missing on the offensive end of this team, and it's just frustrating to watch. But again, they got the win in the shootout. That was a fun shootout, and the shootouts are stupid, but it was a fun shootout to watch because we got the win on it. So I don't know. We move on to the next one. But if they show up against Vegas like that, they're gonna get fucking bullied out of the building.
Vegas has lost 2 in a row too to the Rangers and the Islanders. In the Ranger game, they ended up losing a third period lead. So they're not happy right now. So you're going to probably get the best of the Golden Knights tomorrow night. So yeah, they better be ready. Bobby, what
Yeah,
was your
and a couple of those
pronos for
games,
next game?
like sorry, that they like the Islanders, they that was all Sorokin.
Right.
So like it's not like they're necessarily playing bad. They just lost both of those games.
And what was your thoughts on the Pittsburgh game, Robert?
Just seriously, just very happy they got the 2 points because it really meant a lot the way they've been playing. Yeah, it wasn't that great of a game, wasn't the most crisp game. But right now, just looking back at where we are and what we're trying to get out of, like I'll take that kind of win. We haven't really had that kind of win, and it was pretty big for the guys off the bench, especially with a shootout going that ridiculously long. I mean, all the credit to Dawes. I mean, he won that game for us as far as I'm concerned. He was just magnificent in the shootout. Tim, you said it right. The psycho said he actually likes breakaways or something like that.
Sicko, yeah. I remember before he debuted last year, he was like, I actually really like breakaways because we were talking. I think they were asking him about like why all the defensive breakdowns that we have, and he's like, I actually like breakaways. And then
it was his way of saying, I'm not going to shit on the guys, but for fuck's sake, stop giving them up every 2 seconds.
Right.
I mean, I had a real problem with the way that Pittsburgh played, especially in the overtime. I think that you're taking what's supposed to be some of the most exciting hockey in the world at 3-on-3, and you just made it a snooze fest, man. And I don't like that. I mean, you're going for the bonus point. I think you should go for it like that. Used to be, the Devils mentality. But they're doing what they can do to maybe try to secure the point another way. But here's what I liked about it the most. I liked that we got a dirty goal from Jack. That's fun to see something a little. And then we got a freaking super skilled, awesome goal from Jack, taking the face off, coming over, getting that pass from Brad. And the one-timer was absolutely epic. So I like that he showcased kind of both sides of that. But mostly I like that, he got a dirty goal. Like a guy like Jack, not going to get a lot of those scrum goals.
And they all went right to the net on that goal. They did the right thing. Yeah. And that second goal, like you said, that was just absolutely gorgeous. I agree. I thought Dawes had a great game. I thought, of course, Jack had a great game. I thought Andre Palat had a really good game. I didn't look at his numbers, but just through the eye test, I thought that he was skating hard. He was hitting. He was, creating turnovers. He was involved in both the goals. Well, at least the first one, Jack's first one. So I was kind of happy with a few guys, but then there's other guys, and Tim, we texted about it last night. You wrote about it today. Curtis Lazar, like, enough already. Can we get this guy out of witness protection and maybe get him to join the team? Like, what we need Curtis Lazar for, he has not done at all this year. So he's been a disappointment. I'm curious how you guys feel about him. The other guy that I love, but just seems to be lost without Nico Hischier, is Stefan Nason. Like, he just, Hischier not being there is so big. And, but a few of those guys, I'm just like, and Mercer on the goal, one of the Pittsburgh's goals. I think it was their second one.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you have to be stronger on the boards. Like, you cannot just let guys, but you can't just bounce off of guys. Like, he's got to learn to play a little bit more physical. I mean, you look at Jesper Bratt, who took the last 2 years and spent that getting thicker, getting bigger, getting stronger, be able not only to absorb the hits that a guy like him is going to take, but to be able to dish them out from time to time. And very rarely does he just get strong armed off the puck, and he's not a big guy, but he's strong. And Dawson Mercer and Jack is just so skilled. He just knows when, how not to get hit better than I think anybody in the league. He's fantastic at it. But Dawson Mercer, man, like, something's got to give with this kid, because he's not cutting it right now.
I really thought this was the year that he would take that leap in kind of physical maturity. A lot of times, I'm not just talking about maybe your own progression in the gym. There's that getting older size. You know what I mean? I really thought that part of that would start to come, and the gym thing, of course. I mean, he was basically directly told that he needs to get a little bit stronger in that. So yeah, it's a little disappointing, because I thought this was another big leap year for him. I thought he did really good a couple years ago, right? And then he had kind of that regression a little bit last year, which kind of happens sometimes with the young kids. So I was quite frankly expecting more from him this year in all aspects, and specifically, that physical part there. You can't just get blown up all the time and pushed around. So
it's all the time. It really is.
Yeah, and Lazar. Oh, sorry, Tim.
No, sorry. Keep going. Talk about Lazar.
Just say Lazar. You're right. I mean, I don't know what production wise, it's not exactly where you put him for your expectations, but give or take, he's on a point every 10 game pace. I mean,
right.
That's brutal for any
bad.
forward in the National Hockey League. You know what I mean? You got to chip in a little bit more than that. 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points in 30 games. So just a shade over 1 point per 10 games.
That's dog
need
shit.
A little bit
I
more.
mean,
and I don't want to hear too much about, because I know if anyone was listening to this and can comment, we might ultimately get some kind of comments like, oh, you don't understand hockey. This guy's got the intangibles and this and that and locker. I get all that shit. Believe me, I get it big time. But the reality is, I don't want a bunch of guys that are good guys and locker room guys and does all the little things. At some point, some of these guys need production.
I've also found this during the whole Palat conversation a couple of months ago, when we were kind of, dogging him quite a bit. And we kept hearing that even from Sheldon. Sheldon Keefe would say, and the guys would say, a lot, they do the little things. All right. My whole thing is, though, you can do that and still produce offensively. Why is there no middle ground? It's and for half of the, fans out there, what are the little things? What is it that they're doing that's so that just nobody else on this team can do?
They protect the puck, they drive hard, they win board battles. Yeah. What most hockey players are supposed to do.
The stuff that we do kind of see Palat doing, like you were just mentioning. The amount of times that Mercer just gets bodied off the puck. It's just he loses so many board battles. He's terrible at getting zone clearances. The amount of times that he just flubs his zone clearance, goes right to the point, and then the puck's right back in the zone. I will talk about his production quickly. So I don't know if you guys remember, you probably do, but 2 years ago when he scored 27 goals, right? Mm-hmm. He scored 10 of those goals over an 8-game stretch. Remember that heater that he had?
Yeah.
And then he had a hat trick later in the season against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So 13 of those goals came in 9 games. So the rest of it wasn't actually. He scored 14 goals over 73 games. So
So
that's
we can kind of agree that 9-game stretch was abnormal, right?
that
That's the
seems like
anomaly.
that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is that
Yeah.
is maybe the anomalous production. Maybe he'll go on another heater. Who knows? That was in February and March when he did that. But I just don't think he is this 30-goal scorer that we thought he might be at one point.
I'll concede that I might have even been a little over aggressive on that, but right now, given his pace, he's got 13 goals, 55 games, so that puts him right on pace for 20. I think he's definitely above that too. I think 20 is too low for his skill set. So
I think
maybe he's not a consistent 30, but he should be mid 20s.
I agree, and I think he'll top out probably around that 25 goals, 20 assists, 45 points, which is actually pretty good for $4 million a year. Like
Exactly.
I use that sort of $1 million per 10 points if you're kind of trying to use a point as a barometer. But he's not penalty killing anymore. I don't know if you guys saw that like
Yeah, he was taken off of the first.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
he's
the
taken
second.
off.
He was on the second. That's right. He was
Yeah,
taken
I
off.
don't know if he's taken off of it necessarily, or they're giving Jack and Bratt more run on the penalty kill, which I'm fine with. And his primary penalty killing partner was Nico Heischer, so I don't know if it's something
That could
to
have
do
something to do with it.
but it's something to look at because he only had actually had a minute 52 of penalty killing time, which is the second most forward. So I guess he wasn't actually taken off it
All
against.
right. Which is fine. I mean, he's played the penalty kill. He's good, But like, let's do a quick side by side comparison. And I don't have numbers again. Let's just talk the eye test, right?
Mhm.
Dawson Mercer and his, I guess, station position on this team, right? And kind of juxtapose that with Ricard Raquel's position with the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? That's who Dawson Mercer should be, right? He should be playing like that. And I'm not saying they're the same size, I'm just saying, chipping in for that 25 to 30 goals and
Isn't that what he
being
has already?
Raquel. I
Raquel,
don't know
he had
how many he
24
has right
starting
now.
last night. Did he
Yeah,
score?
he's got
Is he
24.
in the 20s
Yeah.
already?
20, 25?
But like, that's a guy that I would like to see like Dawson Mercer be. And it's just he's not. And I think you're 100% right that this is, I think, who we got. I don't think that 30, 29 goal guy is there. He's not that guy.
Yeah, but again, to Tim's point, he's an extremely serviceable NHL player at his salary for what his production is. Like it's not off balance. It's just maybe our expectations were a little higher than they should have been.
Raquel's got 46 points already, 24 goals.
Yeah. I like, and I really liked what I saw from Raquel. Like he's the guy I wrote about him in that little trade targets blog that I put out. Like he's a really interesting guy. He's on a bit of a shooting bender, but playing with Sid, you put Raquel next to Jack, one for one. That's the deal. But and I've said this before. I feel like Dawson doesn't necessarily have his role clearly defined of like where he kind of slots in this lineup. He did get some run on the first line. He's hopefully now they have kind of a home with this Hall of Timo Mercer line, which actually looked really good, and I think actually works pretty well the way the pieces fit together. Maybe that's it, but
I disagree with you about saying that he doesn't have a well-defined role on this team. Only because I think a guy like him, he needs to be Sergei Brylin. He needs to be the guy that can play the penalty kill, can play the power play, can play anywhere lines 1 through 4. And wherever you put them, they do the right thing and they play smart and they contribute when they can.
Sneaky big goals.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's who Dawson Mercer needs to be on this team. He doesn't need to be Jack Hughes, doesn't need to be Jesper Bratt, doesn't need to be Timo or Nico. He needs to be what Sergei Brylin was with those other Devil teams.
I guess I meant more like, is he a wing? Is he a center?
Okay,
I don't think he's either. Is he a first line wing? Is he a third line center? Like I don't like that's kind of what I mean in terms of, I get he's very quickly slotted in power play too. He's a penalty killer, does a marginally good job on the power play and a really good job on the penalty kill. And that's one of the things that kills me is on the penalty kill. He's great at getting in lanes, breaking stuff up, and getting the puck out of the zone. And you just can't fucking do that at 5-on-5. It drives me nuts. It's like, why can't you do the same thing? It's just when he's on the boards, he's worthless, and it bothers me. I probably given him more shit than I need to, because he's a perfectly serviceable NHLer. But I don't know. Lazar, to your point, like, yeah, he's great. He was the co-host with Amanda at Sweep the Deck and does his cute little
He's
stuff.
fantastic human being. Absolutely. I love the guy.
But yeah, man, we need more from him. That line got just absolutely caved in last night. Like their numbers are fucking atrocious. Like their expected goal numbers, like individually and as a line, are all like 11, 12, 13%. Same with all the other numbers. Like I don't know if they got stuck out there against Sid and just bullied around, but it was just not a good night for them. And they had a nice little 2-game run where they were our best line, but they're back to being a pretty bad line.
Let's put it this way, and I'm going to use Brendan Dillon as an example. And somebody on one of the social medias at some point in the last week or so had posted something about like his contract not aging well, referencing the fact that maybe they didn't like Dillon's play, which, by the way, in 55 games, he's got 2 goals, 10 assists, 12 points, is a plus 13. He only makes $4 million a year for the next 2 years. So I don't even want to get into what that was about, because I think Dillon is nowhere near the problem on this team. But let's use him as the new Mendoza line here. Brendan Dillon has 12 points. Eric Halla has 11. Nathan Bastian has 8. Curtis Lazar has 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
Dillon is outpacing you by 3. It just goes to show you, like, you need a little bit more production throughout the lineup. When a guy like Dillon is like 2/3
has 3 times more points than Curtis Lazar. Yeah,
anybody. I mean,
Tatar's
Tatar's tied with him in points. I mean, would you say that you'd accept that at the beginning of the year? Tatar and Dillon wind up the same? Of course not. So it's just good. There's something that's got to reconnect with some of these lower line players.
And I think that's what's holding this team back. They get depth scoring. This is a completely different team. They're dangerous as hell. And that's why I had said that I'm going to kind of reserve my initial feelings of how this team, what I think about this team, until after the 4 Nations. Get these next 2 games over with. Get Nico Hischier back. Get Jacob Markstrom back. Pull the trigger on any trades that you might have lined up. If possible, do it during the trade, the 4 Nations. Get going in 2.5 weeks with the team that's going to go into the playoffs, and then let's really see what this team's got. But they're not going to go far in the playoffs if the guys that we just mentioned keep up at this pace. Like they just can't. We can get guys in Utica that can give us more production on a 4th line than what we're getting from these guys.
Yeah, and I think the linchpin of every line is the center, and I just don't think Lazar is a decent center. Am I frozen still for you guys?
Yeah. But your audio is fine.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
It's a great freeze too. You don't look dorky or any more dorky.
I look marginally concerned.
Yes, you do.
Which is basically how I feel about this team. I'm still. I think we're gonna be okay, but like. This hasn't been the high-flying, amazing season that I thought we were all coming, or that we were hoping were coming, or that we were playing earlier in the year. And that's fine. If they need to grind out some of this shit, get through some of these injuries, stay where they are. Like I've said this a couple times, like I use 600 as that sort of demarcation of like you're a good team. They're still 3rd in the Metro. Last night was fortuitous because Columbus lost and Carolina lost. Like, We're kind of right on Carolina's heels, and there's a good amount of space between us and Columbus, but that could go south pretty quickly. After 4 Nations, there's 25 games, 50 points on the table. I'd like to see them get 30 of those.
All right, let's do a quick commercial, and when we come back, I have 2 questions that I want to ask you guys. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl, and that's right. It's Super Bowl 59, and you can get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. And new customers to DraftKings can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. It's super easy. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. So for additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. That's DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours.
I have
Tim,
breaking news. Can I do a breaking news? I never get to do breaking news. Right here, live on the podcast. It is 10:16 at night, so most people won't be hearing this till tomorrow. But the polar bear is back with the New York Mets. That stupid saga is over. He signed for 2 years. He's coming back. I just had to get that out. So
That's
SNY
actually
just
got
posted it 6 minutes ago, so that's pretty close to breaking.
Just to
You
get
got-
smoked by the Dodgers.
Wait, you
Probably.
guys got a polar bear on your team?
Yes. Pete
An
Alonso.
actual polar bear? Like, is this a mascot or does he
Yeah, it's
play
kinda like-
shortstop?
It's
He's
like the
kind of a
wall. It's like
mascot.
the
Yeah.
walrus and goal type.
He's
of
a
thing.
mascot that smashes balls and tries to catch him at first base. But yeah,
Who
he's
is
good.
the polar bear?
Pete Alonso.
I had no idea.
You don't know
Okay.
who Pete Alonso is?
I know who Pete Alonso is. I didn't know you called him a polar bear.
That's his nickname. Yeah.
Why
Play
did
in the
that take so
summer.
long for them to renew? Like,
It was the most ridiculous shit ever. After, what was it? $760 million for Juan Soto, which was way more ridiculous than whatever Scott Boras wanted for this guy. Either way, it should have never taken this long. But yeah.
Well, all
I'm happy.
right.
Especially
Okay.
it's just 2 years or so. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Breaking news right here.
Breaking news. It was most certainly breaking.
Fuck the Mets.
Tim,
Fuck the
you
Jimmy.
said that there's 27 games left after this, right? I mean, 25 games after the
But
four
after
nations.
4 nations,
Okay.
we had, these two.
So there's
yeah.
27 games left. How many of those games happen before the trade deadline? All right. So we have, let's see,
All
on
kinds of hard questions.
what's that?
You're asking me all kinds of hard questions.
No, I know, but the trade deadline is what, March 7th?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Where's the rest of my schedule here? I just fucking had it. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay. I've got like 14 different Devils pages up, and I can't find it either.
I know, right? So tomorrow's the game against Vegas on the 6th, right?
Yes.
So February, right? So March 7th it's only giving me till April. Oh, I'm an idiot.
6 games.
All right, so March. How many games? 2,
6.
3, 4,
6,
5,
including
6,
the
7,
7th.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Why do I have that many games? Why do I have 19?
To March 7th?
From March 7th to the end of the season, I have 19 games.
Oh. I was doing from here until March 7th.
No. Okay, so we have 19 games from the trade deadline to the end of the year. So here's my question. Is the trade deadline too late in the season? Do they need to move this up to maybe before the All-Star break?
I mean, from a percentage of games played, that's 23% of your season left. So I think that's kind of fitting. You can really tell what you're getting with a player for a quarter of your season, right?
So you're okay with where it is?
I guess I'm okay. I mean, could you move it up a little bit? Sure, why not? That wouldn't hurt. But I don't think it's saying this is way too late, is my point.
Okay.
It's a good question. I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't know. I don't really care either way. I think it probably could be a little bit earlier. But maybe if there are like 30 games left as opposed to 20. Um, but there's a lot that goes into it, like the cap accrual and stuff like that. That then leads
Sure,
to what
and
you
I
can
did just
afford at
I,
the
I
deadline. So some teams may want it to be later in certain years.
That's
And
what I was going to ask. Do you think it's more that the ownership and the NHL want it later, just because also general managers are going to want to take as much time as possible to make sure they don't, they get the right guy, really know what their team is. I think 30 games is the kind of the number for me. Like if you can move this up maybe 2 weeks and just do it, with 10 more games or so in the regular season, I think 30 games to really fine tune. Because I think if you gave 10 more games to Timo Meyer before the playoffs started, I think he's much more productive on this team. It felt like there was only like 3 games before the playoffs started and he was in here. I know it was a lot more, but that's how it felt to me. So
didn't
I
he
think
come
30.
over hurt?
I think he was hurt.
Like, yeah, didn't he have like a knee problem when he got here or something like
I
that?
think you're right.
Um,
It's he. Go ahead.
yeah, and I think they're also kind of the All-Star break is a bit of an unofficial nobody do anything
Right.
during this. So I don't know. The All-Star game is stupid, but
I thought last year was fun with at least the skills competition. I thought the way they did it last year was a lot of fun.
I
It
always
was
enjoy the
different.
skills competition a lot more
Yeah.
than the games.
The
Those are
game, I
fun.
don't even think I watched last year.
No.
Yeah, so I did like the skills competition. I'm kind of bummed. Like, I hope the Four Nations is good because I'm kind of bummed that we don't get the skills competition this year.
A lot of these guys, the way they're talking publicly, they're excited about it. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's not true, but like so many, like you look at Crosby or I'll say McDavid, is super excited to play with Crosby,
Right.
and wear his country's colors. These guys, it's a big deal for them to wear their country's
Yeah.
uniform. Like when I did it for one scrimmage and I even had like a USA scrimmage jersey on, I was like, this is pretty cool.
I bet it would be awesome.
But
They
then
had
then they
one
told
of
me to leave after that. It was a little weird.
they handed him the Canadian one and
Yeah,
said,
well,
please leave.
I was -3 in like 5 minutes of play, and I was like, I don't think I belong here.
Ryan Graves, they called you?
Oh God, Ryan Graves, man.
Poor Ryan Graves.
If anybody,
Graves looked good last night, didn't
anybody, if anybody thinks that he was the reason that we had a down year last year, you can shut the fuck up.
I think that's safe to
You
say
should
now.
not have
Yes.
children.
I think the verdict is in.
Well, I can't give him back.
No.
I'm just
I
kidding.
mean,
He's-
he should just go get a Subaru and move to Vermont.
One of the guys on the Ranger broadcast before said something talking about international play. They're like, just imagine this next year in the Olympics, you could possibly see 5 Americans out there, and it would be Jack Hughes centering Matthew and Brady Tkachuk and Luke and Quinn in the back. How cool would that be? Just 2 families,
That's an American lineup,
right?
there.
Just
Oh my
2
God.
hockey families out there in the Olympics on one line. That would
I
be
want to
amazing.
see that now.
Yeah, it makes me want to evade taxes and
Where are the Olympics next year?
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know.
All right, do we know if it's like in this country or not?
I
That's
think
all I
they're
care about.
coming back to Salt Lake City, but I don't think that's this year.
We
I
do
think
have
that's
the internet.
next Winter Olympics. I think this one is in Europe for some reason. I'm thinking.
Not that I
I don't
wouldn't
know.
want to go there,
Milano.
but I think
Where
the
is
next
it?
one that's here, I want to go
Italy?
to.
Milano Cortina in Italy.
Italy? Okay, so
sounds
that's
nice.
where it is.
Yeah, and actually there was a ruling yesterday that Russia is still out of international competition via the IIHF, which is like World Juniors, World Championships. The IOC controls the Olympics, so I don't know if they're tied to that decision, but I think they usually kind of make the same determinations based
I
on
mean, if I take the politics out of it, I would love to see Russia in there. I mean, with their players, I want to see those guys in the Olympics. Absolutely, just with the team that they can put out there.
Yeah, it just sucks that they're just such the geopolitics of it all just is getting into this, and now geopolitics is getting into the NHL. They're the one league that really has a lot of a lot of U.S. Canadian relationships that need to be well maintained.
Yes, they do. When we're getting our national anthem booed at Senator games.
Yeah, just I don't know. And now you can't be reactionary and say, don't play the anthems before regular games
Hey,
anymore.
so I got a quick question about the anthems. Listen, it's a free country, free continent. I'll say they can boo what they want to boo. They have their reasons, and I mean, it sucks. It completely fucking sucks. But I was watching a Saber game the other night. I never noticed this. I don't know if this is what they do. I because it's hockey. They were playing Nashville, so it was two U.S. based teams, and they sang both national anthems. Now I understand the proximity to Canada and that tons of people outside Toronto and in Toronto are Saber fans, and it's a short travel for them to go to the games. Did they always do that though?
Not that I'm aware of.
I only thought they sang the Canadian and American national anthems when those teams from those countries were playing. It's not
In
like they sing the
Canada.
American national anthem when Edmonton's playing Calgary.
I mean, they don't sing the Canadian anthem when a Canadian team's playing in New Jersey, do they? I haven't
Sure.
been there in so long. Do
Absolutely. Yeah.
they?
It's
I didn't know
always
that. I haven't been there in
whenever a
so long.
Canadian team is in the Rock, they sing both national anthems.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's just I never heard when it's two American teams them singing the Canadian one. I guess that's something Buffalo does. I thought it was pretty cool actually.
Just a lot of respect, or maybe it's due to the recent climate that they introduced that just to show
Oh,
solidarity.
possibly.
Maybe that might be it.
I always find myself singing it. It's just it's
I love
very
the
catchy.
Canadian anthem.
I did too. I learned it
I love
from
every experience I've ever had with Canada and with Canadians has always just been nothing but positive, man. It really has. Like the few spots I've been in Canada have been awesome. Going to that game, like we talk about all the time in Montreal, has been awesome. I love the little flappy heads. Like there's nothing.
The beady little eyes. I mean, they gave us Terrence and fucking Phillip.
It's about.
I mean, we're
it's about
willing
integrity.
we're willing to look past Brian Adams, but
Yeah,
Okay,
fuck you, buddy.
the Canadian government. No, seriously, you said it dead on, man. I love the country. I love the people. Barack Obama said it best when he said that Canadians like invasion of body snatchers, right? They look like Americans, they talk like Americans, they're not American.
So anyway, like I said,
Yeah.
we're still sitting pretty well in the standings. Tomorrow will be a good test. Montreal will be another good test. Just get to this break. I don't know what they're going to do call up wise for Siegenthaler. We haven't heard about what.
Excellent question.
Yeah. Well, look at me. Mr.
I actually
Segment.
somebody wrote something on like I think it was Pucks and Pitchforks. I took the article about just that. So let's kind of go over that real quick, and then let me know what you guys who you guys are thinking. So this is 3 immediate replacements for Jonas Siegenthaler. This is by Nick Villano. So the number 3 he has is Colin White. And he writes, it's probably not everyone's favorite option, but calling up Colton White might be Colin White can maybe still play. Might be the option that comes with the least amount of red tape. White has spent the most time with the Devils, acting as the healthy scratch for almost all of December. He knows the team, the expectations from practice, what Sheldon Keefe is looking for, and he likely gained some chemistry with the Devils. White is also acting as the Comets' top-line defenseman right now. He would play most similarly to Siegenthaler. He's nowhere near as good as him, no offense, but Siegenthaler is really good at defense. But he would be a seamless transition in the lineup. After 2 seasons away from the organization, the Devils bought White back this offseason to add depth to the team. He's here in a situation like this where injuries are piling up and they need a body until they figure out what's next. Is a trade necessary? Can they reconfigure the lineup until Nemec is ready? Do you need a guy to play these next 2 games while Hataka goes through a conditioning stint? White is your guy. The Devils have some options. Nothing can replace Siegenthaler 1-for-1 from inside the Devils organization, but they have the options to get them through while they wait to see how bad his injury actually is. That's number 1. The next guy he has, I'm sorry, that was number 3. I'm going backwards. Number 2, he has activate Santira Hataka. Says Santira Hataka hasn't played a game this season after he suffered a shoulder injury right before the season started. He had to get surgery, but it appears he's ready to go after practicing for a few weeks with the Devils. Now the question is whether he will make a conditioning stint with the Comets or he'll jump directly into the lineup. Hataka was a surprise piece in the Meyer trade. He's a young defenseman with an NHL upside, and he plays naturally on the left side. He hasn't been too bad while he's been in the NHL. He's 24 years old, so we expect him to be in the league full-time at some point. If this isn't If he isn't, it's almost guaranteed that the Devils would lose him for nothing through waivers. So instead of losing him for nothing after his conditioning stint or just keeping him stapled to the owner's box, it makes a lot of sense to give him a shot in the league. With Siegenthaler out of commission, Hitaka would give the Devils the smoothest transition. He's not as defensively as Siegs, but he gives the Devils more balance and can play his role. This might be our preference if Sheldon Keefe believes believes in what he sees at practice. It's hard to make his distinction without knowing now. He's recovering from the shoulder surgery. If he's close to 100%, then give him a shot. That was his number 2 pick. And the first one is, of course, Shimon Nemec. He writes, call up Shimon Nemec. There's a light complication with calling up Nemec since he's a right-handed defenseman, but that can easily be rectified by Pesce playing on the left side, which he's done with Hamilton in the past. Nemec has been incredible with the Comets for 2 months now. He just played in the AHL All-Star game and looked pretty good with the best of the minor leaguers. Nemec is not Siegenthaler, but he provides the Devils with 2 things that can help. He's incredibly balanced and can provide offense the Devils are missing. Nemec was drafted to be a 2-way dynamo to pair one day with Luke Hughes. We're not there yet, but with a 3-game point streak and a great weekend at the AHL All-Star game under his belt, Nemec's confidence is probably sky high. There's also the whole controversy around his comments about his status within the organization. It had the entire hockey world trying to get Nemec into terrible trade offers, but it makes way more sense for the Devils to try Nemec in the NHL now that there's an opportunity. So those are the 3 guys that Nick Villano writes about. What's your order and why? And who do you want to say it?
Before we do that, can I ask, do we have who's our 7th defenseman sitting right now?
Colin White.
It is White. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. Who's going first on this one there, Timmy?
I'll go first. I mean, I would love to see Nemec come up, move Pesce over. What I struggle with, and I kind of decided on that. I think Pesce has a history playing on the left side. I do think there are concerns about playing on the offhand, but if he's had history, he's a wily veteran, he's a tactician with a stick. I think, that'll be a pretty seamless transition. Give Nemec a shot, man. We're struggling offensively, and if he can provide a little bit of boost there, I think that's the way to go. White, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I have no idea what his game looks like, how he plays. I don't really remember. I feel like he's pretty defensively responsible, but he's not a massive guy like Siegs. Like we talked about this before, he's like a pretty sneaky big guy. And Hataka. If he's already up, and then this is another kind of side issue that I'm thinking about. If they have to call someone up, then that chews into the available cap space, which then affects how much cap we accrue and what kind of piece we can add moving forward. So that would be my only concern, because basically his entire contract would eat up our available cap space right now. A call up. So I think you got to do that. I think, we call up Nemec, move Pesce over, and give that a look and see what it looks like.
What do you think, Bobby?
So as you're reading these lists, I think I changed my mind 3 times. All seriousness, because at first I'm thinking with White in regards to him being the 7th guy all year. And like you said, being part of all the plays and all the practices, my initial instinct was next man up for him. But I think I'm quickly getting rid of that notion. If this were a 1 game for Siegenthaler and you want to plug him in, I'm good with that. But Siegenthaler is going to be out for a while, right? So that changes the dynamic of where my mind's going with this. Hataka, to me, is the better defensive option than him. So I would have Hataka leapfrogging him if I wanted to go that route with taking that left shot, trying to keep kind of the balance that we've had so far. But like Tim said, if anybody's capable of going on his offhand, it would be Pesce. And again, I'm not a big fan of that either. And Nemec is our next best in line. And I think he has a lot to offer. I think I would go with calling up Nemec as well. This gives him a window of time to see what he's got and to see how he's going to fit in with this team the way it's currently constructed. It's not like he's going to do so well. We're like, perfect, good. Now we can trade Siegenthaler. Problem solved. It's not where it's going to go. Some other move would have to happen. But I guess given his stature and given the fact that he is our best defensive prospect right now, I would bring him up. So I go in the exact order that he listed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Almost everything you said. Pretty much everything. I mean, Colton White, I agree totally. That's exactly where I was. Like, he's already there. He knows the plays, but you're dead on. Like, if this was a 1 or 2 game thing with Siegenthaler, but he is, we don't know if he's coming back. So you have to think very long term in this. Tim, why are you here twice? What did you do?
Why was I here at all? And then everything was bright and
All
happy.
right.
Welcome back.
No, I had to go give the gerbil some foods. My internet
Fair
is still
enough.
working again.
Kick him in the ass. No, I was saying with Siegenthaler, like this, you got to think long term now. You have to think maybe this is a spot that's you're going to have to roll into the playoffs with. I think that Nemec gives you the best opportunity come playoff time. Like enough time now, you bring him up, he fits into this lineup. It might be rocky for him at first, but I think he's going to be that good. I mean, we saw glimpses of it last year. There's Hataka. I liked everything I saw about him last year, but he's not Nemec, right?
No.
But Tim, if what you said is right, that would eat up the available cap space, then you can't do it. Am I wrong? Like you can't not make another move when you have guys that aren't going to cost you all of your cap.
Yeah, but think about it. We, a day ago, we were in a position of strength where that defense wasn't our problem or consideration going into a playoff run. Now, essentially, it maybe becomes a huge problem for us. So now you want to put the best possible asset we can in there, which could be Nemec. This is a guy that can go on a tear all of a sudden for no particular reason, through a playoff round or halfway through or whatever. Because now we have to deal with that. It's a deficiency, and then you worry about the rest.
Yeah, but the other deficiencies, I think, surpass that. I think they are more deficient.
And the cap thing,
okay.
And the cap thing, like that changes so much. Like I literally have Puckpedia open, and when my computer just crashed, so I had to restart it. Like, and before I restarted, it said we had like $890,000 in projected cap space and like $1.5 million in current cap space. Now it says we have $3 million in current cap space and $1 million in change in projected cap space. So I don't know what the hell happened, but it probably won't eat up like all of the cap space. But what happens is that it kind of accrues like interest to the deadline, and then the available deadline cap space is what player you could afford based on their AAV. And right now that says 5.3. So
all right, if you're still going to be able to make a move and get, whether that's a 3C, whether that's somebody to play with Jack, doesn't matter right now. We're talking defense. If you can still finagle something to make this team better, then you have to bring up Nemec. I think that, like you said, he's next in line. Like he's second overall draft pick, right? Like this dude, get him up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I can just hear Tom Fitzgerald saying, well, you get your number one center and your number one goalie and your best defenseman and your best prospect up. That's a hell of a trade deadline. Just not fucking pick up anybody.
Well, in these circumstances, we need to replace some bodies. So it is going to be important to get those guys back. Yeah. But this is a little different with the length of time that Siegenthaler's likely out. So I don't think, the other thing is he doesn't. Do we need all of Tatar, Lazar, and Bastian? Like maybe he needs to get creative with a hockey trade to free up some cap and be like, find someone to take Tatar for half his money or whatever. Like we don't need all three of them not performing. Any one of them, you can bring up Nolan Foote or whomever if they're all not going to perform. If that helps,
I agree with the state of this team right now. Yeah, the guys that aren't performing are in danger. You're right.
I mean, Bastian for 135 and Foote for 800. I mean, that's $500,000 in space. Are you going to miss a beat? I don't think you're going to miss a beat. I don't know.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Maybe that's what this team needs.
I mean, that's a GM's job. He's got to juggle all that and see if anything works and sticks. But
yeah, I mean, Tatar and Bastion are on the last year of their deals. Tatar's 1.8, Bastion's 1.35. You know, if
big.
Yeah.
Would there be teams out there that are looking for that type of guy on their playoff push? Teams that are really, really ready. They just truly want a strong veteran depth guy on the bottom.
You talking about Tatar?
Tatar, yeah.
I think there are quite a few teams that would take a shot at him, especially for half the money. Bastion, on the other hand, no. But Tatar, yeah.
And that would remove the most money from us. Like, if that were an option, you know, listen, I like the guy. I'm just saying, production wise, like, we need to freaking shake some shit up. So,
I like it, man.
That would make sense money wise.
Yeah, no, and we're gonna have to. Like, if we bring in two guys, like, there's only one open roster spot right now. We have 22 of the 23 roster spots open right now. Right. It's just a numbers game. Like, someone's gonna have to get waived or moved down, and it'll be one of those two. It'll be Bastion or Tatar probably, or Curtis. I don't know. Like, Curtis was on the last year of his deal and only makes $1 million. I think it should be probably Tatar. I think he's a notorious playoff ghost, and I think what he was brought in to be just didn't work. And I don't know why we're still kind of carrying this guy around.
Yeah,
you know, I would order a pick or something like that.
Tatar, Bastion, Lazar would be my order of removing if I could. I had to put them in that order.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like Bastion and Lazar actually are pretty good penalty killers, and Tatar doesn't do that, and he's on power play 2, which whatever, we can find, you know, another warm body to put on power play 2. And I think Bastion and Lazar did actually have a good penalty killing game. They actually gave the Bastion the Ford tough play of the game or something like that for two shots he blocked in the first period penalty kill.
Yeah, I like Lazar enough to sign him again, even though his production's down. Like, Bastion,
just make him an equipment manager and just have him just bust Luke's balls all day.
Yeah, I think he's the type of guy that can pick up another good year next year. Like, you know, I don't think it's all on him right now. I'm just saying, but out of the three, I guess my point is, like,
Tatar's on real thin fucking ice.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind him sticking around if we built a better lineup around him.
Yeah, and Keefe obviously saw something pretty immediately, moving him all the way down to the fourth line.
Right.
Look, he's been a trooper about it, but at $1.8 million, that money's better served somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. And it should be Nemec. I think that's what they're going to do. It's going to be fun to see who it is. We find out tomorrow. But anything else you guys want to discuss before we wrap this thing up?
I do.
Go ahead, Bob.
Now, real quick, did either one of you guys
you beat me to the punch
about let's see, the PWHL's no escape rule? This is actually an old article. I took a picture of it on my phone like months ago. I just forgot to bring it up.
Like, they don't go to escape rooms. They're not allowed to.
The jailbreak rule, or
they want to shut it. No. So the jailbreak rule was last year, right? Where basically they said if you score a shorthanded goal on the penalty, it will release your player.
Okay.
This is similar in that the no escape rule. Basically, it states that the players who are on the ice when the penalty is assessed against their team must remain on the ice to start the entire penalty kill, similar to how players are trapped on the ice after an icing. So if you're already exhausted, you're starting from a deficiency.
I like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys had even heard of it, because when I read it, again, beginning of this hockey season, I really wanted to bring this up. So I first read it thinking that meant they need to be on the ice the entire kill. Apparently,
they just have to start it,
but they have to start it, so they can't get a line change, and that's pretty big.
I think that's awesome.
I like that rule.
For rules that are meant to
has some fun rules,
right? And add some offense. That seems like one that would, because that first 30 seconds, 45 seconds of a power play is crucial. And if they're
getting stuck out there, and we've seen it with the Devils too, like, you know, because it could go the other way. You know, you're stuck back there a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You take a dumb penalty, and the puck is dropped right away, and you have to stay out there in your own zone.
You might be pinned in for a minute and a half. Yeah. Then you take the penalty.
That's what I said.
And the other team's playing keep away. No.
Yeah.
Then,
and like
Oh yeah,
and if it's
you're saying before the whistle's even blown,
right?
Yeah,
And if it's
Yeah,
your center
oh
that gets the
God.
penalty and you only have the 2 wings on the ice, they're probably
You're
going to lose
right. There you
that first
go.
draw and just get absolutely fucking buried. I love
I
that idea.
love that
I
rule.
would love to see the NHL fiddle around with some of these rules. Like Jeff Merrick talks about getting rid of neutral zone faceoffs all the time. Like if like you're offsides, send it all the way back in your own defensive zone. Like penalize that a little bit more.
I guess that would
Okay.
theoretically
Right.
add offense and a large scope,
Yeah.
right?
Why don't we just go to an Olympic-sized rink and then implement those rules? You want offense, you'll get it.
Olympic-sized rink, 3-on-3.
Oh, I'd watch it.
Two
I'd watch it
90-minute
every
periods.
freaking night. If one of the teams were the New Jersey Devils, I'd watch it every night. Absolutely.
Would be fun.
Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt on an Olympic rink would be just insane. That would be unfair.
Oh,
Like
that'd be so much
like
fun
the
to watch.
4-on-4s that they had, like they were
Mhm.
better at 4-on-4 than they were on the power play last night.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
that's how I kind of wrote jokingly in my recap. I was like, maybe Palat's doing a little bit of strategery there by actually taking that penalty so they could get to the 4-on-4.
Hey man, keep doing it. They're great 4-on-4. I get excited when it goes 4-on-4. I know
Swells up a little
Carolina,
bit.
I think beat us on a 4-on-4 this year. I think they got the better of us, but we are fun to watch. But that's a cool ass rule.
Yeah.
And I agree. I wish at least do it in preseason or something. Let's check it out. Let's see how it is. I think
Try
it
in the
would
A.
be
Yeah.
let's try it in the AHL. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly. Trying the ECHL, there's
Even
like
better.
that's like the jungle down there.
all right, we're gonna wrap this thing up. It's getting kind of late, so thanks so much for checking us out, guys. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, we appreciate it. Subscribe. I'm trying to get that thing rolling. And wherever you're listening to us, a download, subscription, a positive comment, 5-star review, drop us a line, and you can reach us at unclepuckers@gmail.com. Tim Wood on X, on Blue Sky, along with the Uncle Puckers. For Bob and Tim, I'm Chris. We'll see you when we see you.
Bye-bye.
Oh no!
mean,
Hang
your
on a
balls
second.
fell
I have to set the outro because somebody went in there and fucked with our shit. Now we're out.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!